is Mr. Edmond.
That's
Please,
right.
what do you have to say so far about what Mr.
It's my Dixon Records.
Well, again, thank you very much for
better place to bring the change we need in Africa. Join me, let's make Africa great. Oh, join me, let's make Africa great. Oh, join Emilia Bywaters, Ria, Eric Masaba, Edmond Uwefo, Promise Chuku as they answer this question. Are Africans with dual citizenship better placed to bring the change we need in Africa? Join me, let's make Africa great. Oh, join me, let's make Africa great. Oh.
and of course, Dangote himself too. So today, talking about dual citizenship, first of all, I would like to go back to history. Like just a glimpse of history. In the 1990s, for those who were aware then, in the 1990s, early 1990s, I saw a video of it, of some interviews and from the elders as well too. So the rules then, and of course in the 80s too, the rules then was people who travel abroad, they just went there for their studies or to do business and come back. So the dual citizenship then, the original plan of it then was not what it is today. Yeah, so we should accept that fact. So what it means is, then those people who were going to America or going to the UK then, Nigerians, for example, or from South Africa, and they went there to get information, to get knowledge, to learn skills and come back to implement it back in their hometowns. But it's unfortunate that on our current time today, the button is reversed. So what I think about the dual citizenship, what I think is, from my view, yeah, Emilia has spoken a lot of it. The advantage there of it, you can, do some certain things in the other countries, and you can even become probably their elect in terms of bank or elections and stuff like that. But when we look at the other way around, the host countries who are receiving you, they are using a model. America as an example. American model is they make sure that the people who are coming into their country, the people who they give the citizenship, are the best people. So you getting an American citizenship or a British citizenship does not mean that you fit into that position. What it clearly means is that you were filtered with it because they have a model. Okay, if this guy is not rich, we bring him to our country. We make him a citizen of this country based on probably his educational skills or his riches or his sports talent. There must be something that they will assess to give you that citizenship. So what it clearly means is that in their sight, I mean, those who give the citizenship, in their sight, we are just some bit of numbers, of approved numbers with skills. So the advantage to them is greater. My main view, to cut the story short, is I don't think I myself will personally accept any citizenship. I would rather go for making money, which is more important than any citizenship. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't want to be among the models. Someone's trying to use some statistics on me and invest in the country. No, I would rather invest in the country, but I will not accept any citizenship other than my country, which is enough.
Great.
Yeah. I will come at the topic to explain more if I'm permitted. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much to those that joined us. Please always remember you have right to raise your hand to ask any question. And meanwhile, if you are kind of a shy person, just write down your question on the chat box. I will always read it out to our speakers. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Edward. Now, I would want to ask you, someone who wouldn't, you think different of the citizenship stuff.
Yeah.
you wouldn't want one for yourself, that's fine. You just prefer to focus on the money, eyes on the money. That's cool.
That's
I want
right.
to ask you, yeah, so
Okay.
far, what kind of change do you think people with dual citizenship can bring to Africa so far?
Okay. Well, again, I'm going because everything we hear, we actually analyze it based on statistics. Because your question is, what do you think people with dual citizenship can bring to Africa? First of all, people who are having a dual citizenship, they already have a mindset that is to say, they already have the mindset of the other country as their country. But those who are having an exclusive mindset, they can use that platform. For example, Akon is a very great example. Akon has the citizenship of the US, so he has used that opportunity, I will call it, to bring into Senegal, which is his home country, something we call, is it the E? There's something it does, like for currency transfer. So I think those in diaspora who has the dual citizenship, like Emilia and other people, they who have the exclusive mind, they can use that their position to bring development into the real world of and back to their home countries. Because I'm not being racist, but whether we like it or not, your country is always your country. You cannot try to it is difficult to integrate yourself into even if I'm in Nigeria, I cannot even integrate myself with someone from Zambia. So it is difficult to integrate yourself into other country. But if it's back in your home country, you have it, it will be more swift despite the state of the country. So it depends on the person. That's just what I can pick from your question. It's an answer.
Yeah, great. But what about you want your business to go international, right? You have different branches in different countries, and
Yes.
let's just say in the US, you want your business to be established in the US, and one of the requirements is for you to be a citizenship. And so far, you've looked at the money and all the policy that favors you and everything. What do you think? Do you think you can actually compromise, change your mind, and do the business, or just stand on your principle?
Well, to be very sincere, I'll be very diplomatic there, and I'll give a diplomatic answer to that. Currently in the UK, like there's a current plan now. Of course, it has been going on, but it's more visible now. In the UK now, and in the US too, if you take $500,000 and put in a bank in the US or in the UK, you are eligible to have their permanent, to have the card, not permanent, to have their green card. If you should put $500,000, it just invested on something. So the answer to that question is when the time comes, we are going to weigh both options, weigh the option of accepting what they say, and weigh the option of where I came from. And whichever leads, then I'll probably be in that place in terms of investment. Yeah.
Great. As someone who is a businessman that lost money, of course, some of our principles need to be shifted sometimes when the ball rolls on our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Emilia, are you still with us? Can you hear me? You're muted. Okay, I guess her network. While she fixes it, you are still here. You're still stuck with me, Mr. Edward.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. So, my next question would be, talking about. I also believe, I know, if I'm given the opportunity to have a dual citizenship, definitely I will jump on it. Yeah, I will jump on it because I actually see it in another angle. The benefits and everything. So so far I just wanted to share with you, and let's see your opinion on that. A lot of people with dual citizenship at home, a lot of people haven't even gone back home for a long time, and they don't want to invest back home. The reason is they think investing back home, the policies are not lenient with them, right? Investment policies, the way they want to, they feel like that is starting them. right? So they wouldn't want to invest back home. So, and now we're talking about what we can do for Africa. Now, do you think this is their fault, or what is the best thing do you think we can do in this kind of cases, whereby some policies back home it's not favorable for them to invest? Nobody wants to work and just give out to the baboons, right? How do we say
Yeah,
it in a pigeon or something? Baboons they walk, monkey they shop, baboons monkey they walk, baboon they shop. You know, those kind of
that's right.
yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't. It's not easy abroad. All of us know. You wouldn't be working,
Yeah.
trying to invest back home to do something for yourself, and at the same time bringing development to Africa, but it's not favoring you. More like you wasting your money. So, what do you think we should do to also help those that had the opportunity to think of home to do something home at home? So, what do you think we should do as
Okay.
Africa?
Okay. There's a parable that says when a con man dies, when a conny man dies, it's a conny man who's going to bury him. And there's a parable like that. I don't know where it came from. Probably it came from maybe the Congo or somewhere around. So, I mean, like you're muted. Okay. So, to answer that question, um, uh, I'll give myself as an example. Okay. Right now, I'm in China right now, and I'm doing a business in China. And most of the time, I try to integrate myself into the Chinese market, in terms of business. So you can see around the whole of China, the foreigners are always trying to integrate themselves, trying to impress the people that I'm part of you, I'm doing business. But most of the time, we end up spending the whole time trying to integrate ourselves. That is the disadvantage there of myself or of people in another country. Yeah, we can make the money, but you are not welcome. That is the reality of things. I cannot buy land here and fence the land to my taste. So there are a lot of things that you cannot do. As an alien in another country. So those who are abroad, like myself or like Emilia, who has the dual citizenship, if she wants to invest back in her country or in Nigeria or in Congo, they should be prepared to understand the people and be more diplomatic. For example, if you want to invest, if I'm having dual citizenship in abroad and I want to invest in Nigeria, I already have the knowledge that if I should invest in Nigeria, first of all, if I should buy a real estate, okay, I have to start paying some DEVE, Nigerian language. You have to start paying some amount of fees to some special people before you can build. When you build a house in Nigeria, there are some area boys, community boys who come, different kinds of community boys. From where I came from in Delta, we call them DEVE boys. They will come and say that this is who they are, that you should pay 4 million because the local boys must eat, something like that. So who wants to invest in his home country should be, because we are exposed, so we know how it works. So we should be able to make sure that we settle people in the right, not bribery, but we should make sure that we settle people and, of course, employ the locals. And with a good mind, we can be able to teach and train the locals that, listen, this is how it's been done overseas. You come to work in the morning, you close in the afternoon, in the evening, and you put in effort, corporate efforts. So I think it's a good way to invest, no matter of course, there will always be disadvantage in terms of the policies that those countries are making, but it pays off to have your investment in your country. It pays.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Emilia by Waters, do you have anything to say on this?
Emilia, you're
Well,
muted.
I was just kind of curious because it always bothers me when my brother keeps saying he doesn't want to become an American citizen, and now I just hear Edmund. It looks like he doesn't want to be like you don't want to be an American citizen, Edmund, right? For example.
Just like I answered before, I will weigh the options on both ways. But currently, I would not want to be because the opportunity is in Africa, more of Africa right now.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, because my brother, in French, he always tells a family member, he says this sentence: "L'argent, c'est en Afrique. L'argent, c'est en Afrique," meaning money is in Africa. Money, and so right now, even throughout his business life, he has been focusing more on Africa, and so to me, I didn't understand. Maybe Edmund can explain this to me a little more. So if money is in Africa, what disadvantage does the American citizenship doing to you for you to reject that? I don't understand. Can you explain that?
Okay, thank you again for this opportunity. This time I want to go very, very, very direct and hit the main topic this time. 2016, I did a business in Congo for gold, Congo gold business. I probably didn't tell you, but I did a business there, and I have some videos of my partners there in the Congo. I was shocked to see that. I think I even have one. I was shocked to see that in China, in China where we are right now, when you go to the China market to buy the gold, they will tell you that the gold in China is 75% pure. That is, there is 75% of real gold inside the gold. But when I did the business in Congo, all the Congo gold were 98%. That was even the minimum. So we're having 99%. So I was surprised. Then of course I attended some kind of courses online. I'm trying to answer a question with an example. So I attended some courses online, and which I found out that currency, American dollars, Europe, euros, CFA, and wherever, currencies are backed with gold in the World Bank. The World Bank is an agency, actually. It's an agency. So the reason why the American dollar is still the way it is today, it is because the American dollar is backed by real gold in the World Bank in California. So there's a gold reserve on top. American dollar is here, and there's gold reserve here in the World Bank. So if you're from Cameroon, Cameroon has their own gold reserve, and Cameroon CFA, Nigerian Naira, and so forth. So to answer that question, Emilia, I will speak on Congo as an example. The Congo businessman, the ordinary businessman of Congo, he does not know that he sells those gold to make money. That's great. No big deal. He makes money. On the other end, the American, they have millions of agencies who they contract to go and buy gold from across the world. So the developed country, and America as an example, they go to all these countries like Congo, they don't know the plan, the ploy. So they buy this gold and send it to the US, which at the end of the day, the gold gets to the final buyers, which is the government. And the government take those raw gold and slot it into the World Bank to keep the dollar still. So since when I was a little boy, dollar has always been like this, and Naira has always been going up and down. Dollar has always been like this, and South African rands has always been going up and down, and so forth. So to answer that question is, if someone has a clear mind, someone from Congo, because today is my day for Congo as an example. So if someone has a clear mind in Congo that, wow, I am from Congo, okay, and I want to do business in Congo, so the person should focus on gold, should focus on cobalt, and there are a lot of minerals there. So when the person focuses on those areas, the person can alter some certain things that are not done in the right way. Alter it by anyhow. It could be by webinars, trying to enlighten those who are on the business. It could be by trying to send some proposal to their government, tell them that what government, listen, we have to be paying tax for these things. Money has to be going back to the government. So these are just a few. So if someone can understand the meaning of how international economies work, he can be able to refine the way the trade between Congo and the world goes, and the person is going to be very rich, and of course make his country have a perfect deal in the world economics, in the world trade economics.
Right,
Thank
Miss
you.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
It's kind of broad, man. I don't know if I yeah, Emilia,
Yes.
I hope I answered you. You can still ask me more. No problems.
Yes. So so Mr. Edmund, you don't want to become an American. You're not really interested, just like my brother. So what about someday when you have children, and isn't America like the #1 dream, and that people would love to have their children go to school there? That's why when I see someone like you or even my brother, I wonder why not? Yeah, it's a good way for your children to go to the American universities without having to pay a penny. That's one of the advantages.
Yes, Emilia, of course, it's a good way for diversity. But I think because every human being, everybody has a model that he or she follows. So from my view, which is probably the minority for now, the opportunities in terms of business, in terms of almost everything is in Africa right now. And
Okay.
I don't think it'd be wise if someone like myself should give up my nationality to embrace the other nationality. Because even if I give up my nationality to become an American citizen, I wouldn't live there. I'll still be an African. So what's the point?
Okay, so then here's what happened to my brother. He turned
Okay.
he had a birthday December 1st. He turned
Okay.
70 years old, 70 years old. Okay, so
70?
for many years now, he
Okay.
has been begging the American government to give him his social security,
Okay.
and see he cannot get his hands on it even though he stayed in America and he worked, and so now he refused to become an American citizen. So now he cannot get his hands on those retirement benefits.
Mm.
You see,
Yes. Okay. So what's the point?
the point is he lost a lot.
He lost a lot.
Yeah. If he
Mm.
had only accepted, I mean, that's what I tried to tell him. I said, you have nothing to lose. You get the best of both worlds. If one country is fighting, you pack your family, you move to the other one. If the other one, the cost of living become expensive, you pack your bags, you go to another one. You have choices.
Exactly. I think it's more beneficial having a dual citizenship. You have nothing to lose. And so far, I don't know, but Nigeria, you can be a Nigerian and be an American at the same time. I don't think we are that strict with you must denounce one country
One,
to have
yeah.
another. No, I think we can actually have both of them. That's one benefit with us. So far, I think as a Nigerian, I'm not losing anything. I'm not giving up home, and as well, I'm holding another country's passport, which I think is actually cool. You know, moving around two countries and doing my things, it's my benefit. I'm also growing myself, and at the same time, I'm growing my kids. Let's just say I was so rich in the future that I can pay the school fees anywhere in the world for my kids. But at the same time, them having that life, knowing that they can be here and they can be there, it's actually a very good experience. I think the benefits are more than the disadvantages. The only issue I have with just like you said, Mr. Media, for those just like China, right? You can have dual citizenship. Either you are Chinese or you are an American. You choose one. So for those particular scenario, I think it's actually, if I am in that position, it'd be hard for me. because nobody would ask. It's actually very difficult to give up your home birth. It's actually very difficult. It's more like saying I'm no more a Nigerian. Yeah. In as much as sometimes I get mad at the Nigerian government, but believe me, I wouldn't want to give up Nigeria for America. That is the truth. It's gonna be a very hard decision for me when it comes to me. It's gonna be a very hard decision. That is the truth. But now I think we are, for those that are on the side of you can have dual citizenship. I don't think they have anything to lose. You're at home. You are at anywhere you want to be at the same time, which is actually very cool. you know. So back to this, I would just want to just slid away from the question, our topic today a bit. Um, Miss Emilia, please, what other ways can someone get? I believe Americans have different ways of getting citizenship. So far, I've heard, apart from marriage, yeah, apart from marriage, there are other places, other, situation where you can be a citizenship so easier. So if you don't mind, you can just briefly share with us, or you can go straight to the point if you don't mind.
Okay. So if you go to school and study, just like in any other country, of course, you have to go back to your country. But America is one of those countries that I really, really love because when you finish your studies, there's no immigration that's going to be hunting for you to check whether you went back home or not, unlike some countries, which means you can take advantage, find a company that would hire you, and you can become an American citizen. But you only do that after 5 years of getting what we call a green card, your residency card. Yeah. And you guys know about the lottery system, right? Do you?
Yeah, that was then. I used to hear it as a kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
The lottery system for America is America allows 50,000 foreigners to emigrate to America every single year. Just about every friend that I know has a relative that has moved to America using the lottery system. I believe in October sometime. You just go online, or you can hire some company. Some people charge people and they put their application in there. You give your picture, you give the address of a relative that lives in America. I haven't done those applications yet, but that is a guarantee way for you to go to America and then eventually become a citizen. If your country is in war, um, you can also apply through the immigration, or you have to go to like run away to another country, a third country, and then you can enter that way. Lately, some people have been entering through Mexico. Yeah. And the last thing in the book is the old-fashioned way of just marrying an American.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also
Then
heard
you.
about citizenship by investment. I heard
Oh
something like
yeah,
that. I don't
yeah. Like even
know.
Edmund just said, you have $500,000. You put it in there. Yeah. No questions asked. Every single day I see in our host country here, those that have lots and lots of money here, they're able to easily become American citizens. In
Yeah.
fact, they give them visa for like 10 years. Some of them don't even need to become citizen. They still get the same advantages. But just the one thing you have to remember, if you want to become a president, for example, of the United States, someone like me, I cannot because I was not born there.
Oh.
To become a president of the United States, you have to have been born in that country, in America, that is. That's why they had the big debate on President Obama. His opponent said when the mother got pregnant, she went to Kenya and delivered him in Kenya. And his lawyers said, nope, he was delivered in Hawaii, where he is from. And Hawaii is an island of the United States. So therefore, Obama has permission to become a president. After today, the other party, the Republican Party, they always say that he was illegitimate because he was not born in America. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Eric is back.
That's actually my first time of hearing that. Good to know. Um, Glad before we call upon Mr. Eric to introduce himself, I would want to welcome one of our special guests, Mr. Samuel Ifejoku, the CEO of IDEC Groups, and also I can also see Miss Blessing. Thank you for joining us. You always
I believe we lost Miss Peppy. Welcome, Mr. Eric. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you okay. Can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Eric Nsaba. I'm a UK-based entrepreneur here in Liverpool. I'm the creator of what you all know as Uber, Diddy, Grab, Lyft. I came up with that about 18 years ago, and it's an overall system for road pricing and congestion management. I'm also an aeronautical engineer and a financier, and I've worked in electricity research, and I'm hoping to help create networks to make African diaspora people more effective and able to communicate and collaborate.
Okay, great. So, do you hold a dual citizenship, if I may ask?
No, I don't. I've only got UK citizenship because Uganda doesn't permit dual citizenship or used to not. And I haven't been to Uganda in 40 years. So the only country I've
Oh,
ever known is the UK. And I've only lived in France, the US, and the UK. But
oh, okay.
at some stage, I
So that
will
you
be
just
going
told
back.
us your age. Do you wish sometimes that you did have dual citizenship?
I'm not too worried about specific citizenship as long as I can get visas or ongoing ability to travel to where I need to be. I'm not too worried about citizenship. Sometimes citizenship might confer responsibilities upon one, for example, that you might not want. So as long as there is a regime where I can travel freely, I'm not too worried about that just yet.
Okay. So how about you briefly tell us, in your opinion, what the pros and cons of having dual citizenship are?
Um, Only from tax purposes. For example, I knew quite a few of my colleagues had dual American citizenship, and a lot of them, if they were Europeans, gave that up because of tax problems, or also the fact that they could be extradited if they were considered to be American citizens, if, for example, they disagreed with the policies of the United States government. So that was something which was interesting to see. I don't know how much citizenship really can help one as an African person, because a lot of countries, you can get into more countries with some of the European citizenship. So I can only see that dual citizenship increases your ability to travel to countries, because the UK, for example, has been annoying people, and some countries have made it difficult for UK passport holders to go there. But some African countries and increasingly some Middle Eastern countries have more places they can visit with their passports. So generally, I don't see it as a bad thing. I can't say what the cons are. I can see that the things which make it a good idea are the ability to travel to more countries, or to not have to submit yourself to long and lengthy visa application processes. But honestly, I think as long as somebody in their mind wants to connect and collaborate, where there's a will, there's a way. I don't think that we should rely on governments to enable us. I think we should be able to just get on and do things ourselves, if that makes sense.
Okay, thanks. Miss Peppy? Miss Peppy, we lost you there for a minute. so I covered for you.
Yeah, I'm with
Miss
you.
Peppy, can you hear me?
Did you call me? Hello.
It's okay, Edmund. It's okay. You can
Okay. Did you ask me a question or something? Hello. I don't think I can hear you. Hello.
I can hear you, but can you not hear me?
Okay. Okay, I'm here, Emilia. Just in case you called me.
Yes, I was saying,
Yes.
Pepe is not responding.
Okay.
Mr. Edmund, if you would like to engage Mr. Masaba on the dual citizenships.
Okay, very well. I was actually waiting. I was actually waiting for that. So, Mr. Masaba, I would like to ask you some proceeding questions. First of all, for the dual citizenship, what do you think? Before the main question, but what do you think? What do you think that make people choose to have dual citizenship? What do you think is the main factor that make people think of accepting or pursuing dual citizenship?
I just think ease of travel and ease of doing business in another country outside, for example, the US or the EU. For example, if you want to build houses in Ghana and you're going there 3 or 4 times a year, you might not want to have to, wait in line or apply for visa. I think that's the main reason. Now, as you know, in China, you've probably got yourself a 1 or 2 year or longer residency permit, which you have to renew every year or 2 years. Is that correct?
Very
And
well,
you've got, and you can go to China as many times as you want. Within that period, you can come in and go out, even if you're not a citizen of China. Is that what your situation is there in China?
For America?
No, in China, for example.
Oh, we need a visa here.
Yeah, but your visa gives you multiple entries, does it not? It's for how many years? 2 years or 5
Um,
years?
no, well, depends on your age. For now it's 1 because yeah. For
Okay.
they've become very they used I think some people had 10 years. I don't know if they do those anymore.
Okay. No, that's new information for me. I didn't realize. But
Mm.
that's the main reason I can see why one would apply for citizenship, to just get away from all those visa requirements. And then some countries make it difficult to invest or hold property unless you are a citizen. And there is that. But then it makes you fully subject to the legal proceedings of that country. For example, I know some people who did business in Hungary who fell foul of the Hungarian authorities, and they were jailed. And if they'd been Hungarian citizens, they wouldn't have had any recourse to ask for protection from a different country. So that's one of the cons I would see. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to talk to somebody who's got dual nationality and has had both good things and bad things happen as a result of that. I can personally only see the pros, but I can potentially, although I don't know of it happening, see how you could be subject to the legal rendition of the actual other country of which you were dual citizen.
Okay, thank you. So now here's the main question. Currently, like as we speak right now, most people, I'm pretty sure, it's a fact, I'm pretty sure about 90% of the world populations, 90% of the immigrant population, those who are traveling, they may not be grossly aware that, for example, the American are giving them those citizenship programs because like my business friend would say, the biggest business in the world is transportation. It's moving of people from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. So what I'm actually saying is most immigrants, most governments of other countries, they are not fully aware of the revenue. I would say that if I should move some certain people from point A country to point B country, that could cause an economic boom. So in clear terms, what I'm trying to say is in Canada right now, in Canada and in the US, the Nigerian doctors are one of the best there currently. And in Nigeria as a country, we are lacking doctors there. So every single doctor in Nigeria now are being flown abroad to become a medical practitioner in the US by improving those economies. So my point I'm trying to give to you as a question is, do you think that in the future, if these countries are clearly aware of what this thing could mean to their economy, do you think this dual citizenship will continue? Because I see Nigeria as a country who's going to give an option very soon that, listen, okay, if you go to the US for something, we're going to strip you out of something. That means if you get the US citizenship, forget it. You can't get some certain things in Nigeria. So I see Nigerian government doing this thing very soon. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that both Singapore and China understood that. The biggest single, it's not gold, diamonds, oil, copper, uranium, which is your big resource in your country, to your people. If you educate your people, if you find those super high intelligent people and you make sure they stay in the country, they've got incentives to stay, that's how you build your economy. That's what China did. China specifically, for example, as highly regarded as MIT or Stanford or Yale or Imperial College are, the very top universities in Singapore and China make sure that their very top people don't leave the country, at least until they've done something like a PhD within that country. And that's the situation. The reality is that it's in the interests of Western countries to make a life miserable in African countries so that all the best people leave and then go and put their 10, 15, 20 best years helping build up the economies of the West. Most of the nurses, for example, in the UK are either from African countries or Asian countries like the Philippines. And that healthcare could be provided within those countries, but people have fallen foul of this idea. So I see what you're saying, Edmund. I really see that there could be a way the countries start to say, we are going to make sure that our best people do not leave. Or I think it's better, rather than doing a stick approach, to do a carrot. You've got to give privileges to people who stay, complete their education within the country, and then maybe do a certain number of years. I've often said that cities like New York, London, Paris, Tokyo, what they are, they're voluntary slavery. You'll see people come there in their early 20s and they'll stay there and they'll give their 10, 15 best years, adding value to those cities. And then when they've all been chewed up, like all the flavor and all the energy and the buzz has gone from them, they'll leave and they'll go somewhere else. But most of that resource that they contributed comes from their best years, the 20 years from when they're 22, just after they finished their first degree. If there was more, I think it was tried in the 70s, African and Asian countries tried to do bilateral deals. Ironically now, with the defeat of Ukraine, which is NATO looming, the multipolar world is coming in, and a lot of actual African and Asian and South American nations can start to do what they tried to do 50 years ago, more bilateral trade, trading in their own currencies rather than giving up their very best people for a completely fiat currency in the West.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Eric, because I'm very happy that you also have a vision there. Like you have a very strong insight there, because I used to live in the Middle East for a while before, and from what I know in the Middle East, the people, those from the citizens of Qataris and Saudi Arabia, they are not allowed. It's even written in some of their passports. They're not allowed to visit some certain countries. Like the government made it very clear that, listen, okay, you can't even buy flight. There's not even flight going to those countries, because the government made it clear that that you cannot be in two places at the same time. Okay, it's either you are for this country or you are for that country. Because when we, for example, I think I'm also a small example. Someday I just searched my name online, and as an example, I found my name on the Baidu something. I'm like, what? So what I'm trying to say is, I did a research in China of a topic called Schrodinger's inequality. Okay, I did a research. So I never knew that all the while, because I had to sign some stuff. So I never knew that all this research I did and all the stuff I did was being passed, PARSED, was being passed into their national lab. So I'm like, wow. So which means that all the whole students, foreigners in China here, their research, their thesis, their dissertations are being put in a lab that's in short, we are like a worker who is going to research on some particular topic and we keep it there and we graduate. Research on a topic, we keep it there, we graduate. So in the future, those citizens of this country is going to go there and they'll create a program to extract the solutions. So I think in the future, Mr. Eric, so just to add to what you said, I think in the future, when some certain countries, like poor countries to say, when some low development country will clearly understand some certain things on the benefit of moving people, I think they should probably they should censor some area. Like you said, earlier, or like if you move to other countries, it means that you will not get some special things back if you want to come back, just to reduce the best people living point A to point B. Because that's what the Western world they do to blow their economies. I was in Doha again, and the country, they are holding the World Cup now. When I was there, that was about 15 years ago. I was there, and all the workers there, even their policeman is not even from the country. Their police is from Sudan, from Tunisia, from Egypt. So they had it clear. They move people there, they work in a country, give them the passport and all the stuff, and it was just like a ploy. And I think you're right from how you assessed it.
Well, did you know that in 1940, when the United Kingdom was facing utter ruin, the stories we're facing a Nazi invasion, in reality, the Nazis were never going to invade, but what they could have done was effectively blockaded us. So Britain sent over a guy called Henry Tizard he departed from Liverpool with a crate of all the inventions, and it was taken to America. And then from 1940 onwards, September 1940, every single invention that Britain had and would have for the foreseeable future, and it's still going on today, was gifted to the Americans. So they got everything from things that you think of American that aren't American. Cavity magnetrons, which is how we make microwaves and radar. That was a British invention. Self-sealing fuel tanks, plastic explosives, so many things, superchargers, every invention Britain had was given to the actual Americans. And they do that to the Canadians, the Australians, to all the EU countries. That all the stuff that anybody comes up with, the Americans get first look on. And that's how that empire is currently maintained, although the Russians have stood up to it for the first time in maybe 30 years, and they've said no more. So from 2011 onwards, they just said, we're going to create a new thing with the Belt and Road Initiative, which is, if you know your geopolitical history in the Mackinder Heartland thesis, it's where Eurasia and the world island can collaborate more effectively. So the reality is, all those former colonies of France and Britain, they're still being used as colonies. And Britain, for example, gets very highly educated and very cheap National Health Service staff from Africa. And Africa's not developing itself. And whenever Africa does try and develop, what you'll find is there's all of a sudden something like Boko Haram or Janjaweed will appear. And that was done in Europe as well. The Red Brigades in the 1970s, which was a NATO program called Operation Gladio. It's to keep vassal states in line. So the reality is, once people understand this and they start to take steps to protect themselves, and one of the biggest things the country has to protect is its information domain. The information domain is where people have certain views about the world because that's what's pushed on the media. Where I'm sure, Edmund, when you first got to China, there may have been some Chinese whose idea of black people came from American negative stereotypes about black people, but there are probably plenty more who had never seen black people and dealt with you as they found you, okay? But the reality is, if you can create somebody's perception by media, you can make them believe they're living on a I don't know, a certain shaped world, for example. It doesn't really matter what they believe, as long as they believe what your media says would be the case. And remember this idea that, sorry, go on.
Okay, sure. Thank you again. I'll get back to you. I have a follow-up question, but can we please allow Barrister Olusegun Ipola to give us his views? I'll come back to you, Mr. Eric. I have some follow-up questions. Mr. Barrister Olusegun, please, you can go on, sir, with your... I think you're on mute. You're on mute, sorry. You can unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Okay, it's fine. Okay.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Perfect. It's
good, good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, well done. I'm so sorry. I'm just coming on board.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I will need to take time so that let me understand the topic very well.
Okay.
Okay,
the main topic is... Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I heard, sorry, my network was really bad, so I had to log in, and I heard everything Mr. Eric said, also what you said, Mr. Edmond. But I have an objection to that, right? When we talk about African development, everybody, yeah, we care about our continent, but at first we also care about ourselves, self-development, right? When I care so much about developing myself and the government is not making it easier for me, what makes you think I should care so much? I care less about myself. People have families, right? People have things they're gonna take care of. And then government is not giving us a platform to grow, giving us a platform to exercise that talent that we have as doctors, as lawyers, barristers, whatever you can call it in any field. You're not giving us that platform to grow. And you think when America gives me another option, I'm not going to move. Definitely I will move. Everybody also wants their self-development. It's not just about the country. We all love our continent. We love home. But you also have to think about family. You also have to think about your personal growth, right? I also think we need to start from the government doing the right thing. You use China as an example. Let me tell you, at a point, when Chinese started moving out of China to go abroad, they were so crazy of moving abroad to work and all that. China, yeah, was worried about the brain drain, right? But what did they do? They created a policy. They created some benefits that can actually attract those Chinese that studied abroad to come back home. Because so far they've looked at the benefit that government created and they knew that it's worth it. And this is also home. When you meet people, you are so relaxed with the culture and everything. And at the same time, you're benefiting the same thing you even benefit outside. Why would you want to stay outside, right? So now, as an African, and some of the benefit is not coming up for you. I don't think if you're working in Canada and getting a very good pay, you would care about coming back home to be the best doctor. Come on, for people that don't appreciate you. So I think we need to start with our government doing the right thing. If the government creates a very good policy and a very good home for us, nobody cares about yours. True, you can even have dual citizenship and always be at home. You know, nobody actually wanted to desert home. It actually is the place actually beneficial for us. We also want self-development. It's not just about growing Africa. We have to grow home first. Our kids need a future. We also need a place to grow ourselves as well. So I think that's my opinion on that.
Okay, I have some follow-up questions, but maybe after the next speaker, I will drop some follow-up questions. Mr. Olusegun, sir.
Oh, very well. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, very well. I think I could get the scope of the topic we are discussing. I want to believe one of the biggest problems that we have in Nigeria and some other African countries is that we tend towards gravitating towards making our society to become anonymous. Anonymous in the sense that both the governments and the people that are led, we didn't care about ourselves any longer. So the environment is not really suitable for anyone to say, okay, yes, I want to contribute my own quota, particularly at the youthful age. Because now I believe that majority of our people that find their way out of the country are those within the bracket, the bracket of their productive years. So what they need to contribute to the country they take it outside over there. You understand? Because the government is not doing enough to create that environment that is suitable enough for people to actually develop their skill and then contribute it back to the society. So there's need for a deliberate effort. You understand? To actually encourage people, to develop themselves, providing the right environment for them to develop, then give back to society that which they have gotten. You understand? Now, I found out that in Nigeria, like me, for example, I found out that in this country, in fact, you can be the best you can. The best you can be in this country. But the environment is not really palatable. It's not making people to actually say, okay, yes, let me develop myself in a way that, yes, I can contribute that back to the society. So until there is a deliberate effort in that regard, you understand? And I want to believe that, government can do this by creating a suitable environment for everybody to grow, develop a particular skill, and then you give back to society. Like majority of our doctors now, they are finding their way out. Even lawyers, and not that they are really, they contribute their best over there because the environment is conducive. But here, people struggle virtually to do everything. You struggle to go to school, you struggle to get a job, and those who are professionals, they struggle to get things done here. So it's not really helping. But I believe that we can contribute our own. I mean, we can develop our own country. We can develop it. And then again, I want to actually even make it as a kind of suggestion to the appropriate authority like the government that there's need for us to start to develop our own domestic capitals. There's need. So one of the things we lack in Africa and in Nigeria, as a particular, is there's lack of domestic capitals. We are not ready to develop, and that's why we are relying on all these Western world for everything. There's no way we can make any progress in that regard. There's no way. There's need for us to develop our domestic capitals, and we have the human resources. We have what it takes to develop it. So that's just my point for now.
Okay, I have some follow-up questions for you, then we'll move back to. Yeah. So I heard what you said, but I want to ask you a very direct question. For example, in the US, I couldn't remember the president's name. So a president, is it Abraham Lincoln or someone around? The president said something that it is what the country, it is what you can do
give to
the country, not what the country can give to you. So the other statement I want to make is when you analyze Nigeria as an example, which I believe you're there, when you analyze the number of governors in Nigeria, there are 37 plus Buhari.
Very well.
The number of local government chairmen, there are, I think, 770 something like that.
Very well, 774.
774, okay. So when you analyze the number of local government chairmen, the number of governors, the number of senators, when you calculate all those numbers together, sir, you find out that they are probably less than, let's say, 10,000, if it's too much. So
very well.
With 10,000 people, change a country of 200 million. What do you think about that? Don't you think the problem lies with the people rather than those 10,000 people? That's a question.
Okay, very well. Yeah. I want to believe that when you are in position of leadership, there is need for accountability. Okay, now the people should. Now, one of the things we are lacking, let me put it this way, is that we fail to make our leaders to be accountable to us. We fail to make our leaders to be accountable to us. They are not accountable. We are not. You understand what I'm saying? Now, and some of them that even have a clear vision. At the end of the day, they get blocked. There's no driving force to actually make their vision to be realizable. So now, I blame the leadership and at the same time the followership, because there must be a mechanism by which you hold people accountable. People who are in the aim of affair, you hold them accountable to account for their offices. You understand?
Can you break
now,
it down, please?
In Nigeria, for example.
Okay,
let me now what I'm saying is this. Now, if, for example, I prepare for an office. I said, okay, yes, I have a vision, and these are my vision. This I want to do when I get there. You understand? That is what I'm going to get. I mean, what I'm going to do.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Now, there must be a way by which I carry people along, and then they key into my vision. They see what I'm seeing. You understand? Because by being a leader, you have to be proactive. Do you understand? And the commitment must be there. The moment you know what you want to go and do, either in government or even your own private capacity as a leader, once you know you want to achieve, you must be committed to it. And then there must be a way you give people accounts of your service to the people. Do you understand? And if we have a common direction, or for example in Nigeria, if you have a national direction, that this is the way we want to go, everybody will committed to it, both the leaders and the leadership. I mean, both the followership. But I find out that in this our country, there's no direction. There's no clear direction as to this is what I want to go and do there. There's no clear cut perspective about leadership. So we can only blame the followership little. The reason being this, there's a sphere of influence you have that you can bring about the change that we all yearn for. You understand it now? Like me, for example, now in my own little private capacity, there's little I could do. But if I'm a governor of a state or I'm the president of Nigeria, I should be able to ensure that I carry people along in a way that all of us know that this is the direction we are heading towards. And it's going to be for the common benefits of all. You understand what I'm saying? So Nigeria, as a case study, we have our own case is peculiar. Our diversity is one of the biggest problems we have. I won't lie to you. That's even the biggest challenge. It's supposed to be our strength. It's supposed to be our strength. But the biggest challenge is this diversity of 18. Now, if you look at the different geopolitical zone of Nigeria, there are different potentials that can be harnessed. But we are not ready to do that. We are not ready to do that. So for me, it requires that whosoever wants to be at the end of affair should have should be patriotic enough and nationalistic. You understand? To carry everybody along. So all Nigerians will not say, yes, this is our leader, this is our hero. This is our direction all of us are going to. Because we are going back. We are not really moving at all. And it's making life difficult for even every other person. Nigerians are full of potentials. You understand? So, in summary, we need to engage both the leadership and the followership. There should be a serious engagement. Let's get involved. There must be a consensus.
Okay, thank you very much again. So, if I could pick what you said, it means that from the leader side and from the follower side, there should be 50-50 effort, right?
I think he had a bad network. Can I point one or two things?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I actually support what he said, talking about accountability. And from your question that you asked, I'll just
between the leaders and the followership is that all of us say yes. Yes.
Okay, his network is okay. Should I go on?
Yeah, sure. Of course, yeah. I can hear you.
Just say from what you understood. What you understood from what he said is that it should be 50-50, the leaders and the. I don't think so. It can never be 50-50, and it's actually funny when you try to use the population. You say the problem would be from. No, that's not true. As a leader, you are just like 1 million person, right? As a leader, you're just standing as a 1 million person, just as Buhari is now. Just to tell you the power that's been bestowed on a leader. If Buhari today stand up and said, in fact, CBN, you people should start deducting 50 naira from everybody's account from today, it will just take effect and it will happen, right? Regardless of the population, regardless of what we say, it's not going to stand, but the leaders will stand. So that is why a good leadership is important. Good leadership actually changes an entire nation. It can turn everything upside down. Bad leadership scatter the whole country and bring country to it below, right?
Yeah.
But a good leadership can turn things around for a country, and that is what Africa needs. So why do people care so much about this good leadership in Africa? It's simply because we know that that is actually the problem that we have. Yes, as followers, we also need to be accountable. But let's just say accountable of just say it's 60-40. It can never be 50-50. That's not possible, right? For example, it's almost impossible because like different personalities, you cannot just make everybody obedient in one day. But some policies that are being set out there by the leaders can make everyone obedient. You don't have options.
Oh, okay.
For example, let me give you an instance in China,
Kedu,
with
how are
China,
you, me?
right?
Well done.
Can you hear me?
No, I'm not Igbo. I don't like to
Please,
speak
can
Igbo.
someone help mute the
I'm
background?
surrounded by Igbos.
Oh,
So bulk of the thing I do are Igbos. So I have to learn their language at all costs. Well
can
done.
you help? Okay, thank you so much. As I was saying, I actually think um, I was using China as an example, right? Initially, just as we see on the traffic on the way, right? The traffic, Chinese they have every right to just um, don't care about the traffic, just move as they want, just like you can see in Nigeria, right? Everybody just drives the way they want, they break the traffic rules. At the end of the, unless a police catch them, then or the traffic police catches them, then they have to pay fine and they have to face the consequences. But here in China, it's hard for you to see a traffic police standing there begging you to move here, move there. No, the camera is there watching you. These are the things that government put in place. You already know that when you follow the traffic rule, at the end of the month, you don't even need anybody to tell you. Your money is being deducted. In fact, you've been paid fine. You have consequences to face, right? This is what leadership entails. So they say we are brilliant animal, and at the same time, when we don't have rules and we don't have control, we tend to just act anyhow. So why is good leadership important? It puts you in place when it creates good policies. You even see yourself doing the things without anybody begging you. Nobody will come to your house and knock on your door. You have to do this. No, but things that are being set up by the good leadership will force you into this a systematic development. It will force you into being someone that the society wants you to be. Initially, China wasn't doing the cashless policy thing. You have to use cash payments and all that, and there were a lot of corruption, right? Yeah, corruption is still here, but it's reduced, right? At a point, you get now everybody's using WeChat, Alipay, and all that. You have to pay through your WeChat. Sometimes some things you have to do with your WeChat. If you don't have your WeChat, it's more like you're useless here. A lot of things you can't even do it. So this is like a system forcing you to follow a particular way to do things. So I think that's what we need in Africa, right? So for accountability, this is what we lack in our leadership. Our leader, they just do anyhow, and they promise us whatever, but nobody's accountable there. And at the same time, bad leadership also creates bad citizens, because there are a lot of loopholes, so people tend to live the way they want, and a lot of things are spoiling. So we all are being held accountable, yes, but when it comes to the leaders, it can never be 50-50. Let's just call it 70-30. That's my own opinion.
Can I say something? Hi, my name
Okay,
is
sure,
Violante.
yeah.
Finally, we have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have some follow-up question for Pipi and Masaba. Thank you. After.
Okay.
Okay.
Pepe, and okay, I came a bit late. Really, my apologies for that. But if I listen to you all very carefully, I maybe have been just a visitor in Africa, like going to Nigeria twice, once 1 month, once twice, 2 weeks. But what I see, they are very hardworking. Um, but don't forget, I cannot see in the offices who are those white collar people. I don't know who they are, but I could see in the street how hardworking they are. I mean, I see just boys selling whatever small gadgets or whatever. They were selling that my time. What I've seen, they were selling. I mean, bread with something in it. What I've seen is, and what I've learned after talking a lot to people in groups in China, is that everybody who has studied here, they want to go back to Nigeria and find a job what they've studied for here. Now, you are here in a country, China, that is very advanced, that has the room for all these things that you've studied. You can find a job here easily. But when you go back home, it's not there because actually there is more needed for building the country. There are more builders needed as doctors, for example. There are more technicians needed as, for example, PhDs. How many professors can you have? Let's get serious. Where there is still a lack of housing, where there is still a lack of um, drainage system, a lack of electricity, you name it. Now, if you bring in more skilled people or people who have studied at a university abroad, who are willing to set up an organization where they train people on the ground to start doing things like this or start cooperating with the government, all these things, they are possible because I've been asking questions, to high officials that, but why this, why that? And everything you hear every time again. And don't worry, in my own country, it's the same. They all go abroad. They all want to study and become a professor, blah, blah, or master, blah, blah, or a bachelor. But it's when they come back, they don't cannot find jobs. Sometimes those jobs don't even exist in their country. For example, if you have studied how to um, something very crazy, especially in the UK and America, you can study all sort of things where the country is not even ready for. What does it take of you to, for example, start something completely different? What maybe you have not been trained for, but there's an opportunity for you as an entrepreneur. Because when I came in China, you all scream China, China, China. China took for me, because I've been here 20 years, I can only talk for 20 years, took 20 years to come where they are now. When I came in China, it was almost like Nigeria style, very rough. Oh my goodness. Corruption, woof. I mean, were you safe? I mean, you just park your car and somebody's running and saying that you drove over his feet, things like that. Or you bought something, the person charged you 10 or 20 times. You don't know better. Or the cameras were not there. So a taxi can take you 10 times around town and you wouldn't even know. These kind of things. Now they look for solutions, but we're talking now, how long do they have so many cameras? And you're talking only because of what you've seen here in the capital city. When you go to smaller cities and when you even go um, past, let's say, Sixth Ring Road, there are not so many cameras. What you were talking about, Pepe, it's not so developed. It's almost as if when I came in China. So there are still a lot of places that they still have to develop. It's not everywhere. But what they've done is there are a lot of, basically, I almost can say maybe 60 or 70% of China is entrepreneur. You see, all these people
Okay,
who
Ria.
came back. No, because I hear every time, yeah, but the government was not ready for them. It's only later people were pushing the government because everybody became entrepreneur. And now the government was seeing things were chaotic, lots of things were happening, cheating, complaints, that they were forced to
Okay, so
organize because the
okay,
people were forcing them. But if
okay.
everybody just runs away and doesn't want to do anything because no, I studied to become, let's say, a teacher, I
Mm,
want to be a teacher there. But if the teacher job is not there, what must you
okay.
do then? Then it means, oh, then I don't want to stay here. I will go somewhere else where they can give me this teaching job.
Yeah.
People are not even willing. Well, the people here, what they did is, I remember some lady, she was selling antique furniture. She was a teacher, a professor, a PhD professor, but she became an entrepreneur. And look at her now. She said not in her sweet life she could ever have expected to be rich like she is now. Many, many, many of my friends that I know,
So
they
Ria,
have all, but they are entrepreneurs. So I
okay,
see our problem is we don't want to do the extra bit of looking further as our noses and look for opportunities. We just want to run away because when I was there, I swear
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so
yeah,
many
yeah.
opportunities there.
Okay,
Okay, yeah,
okay,
go
okay,
ahead.
Ria. Yeah, yeah. I want to pause you on one area. Uh, all you said now, what can we take from that? Like, who should be responsible for this? And what model do you think? Is it the people or the leader?
I say the leader is only a handful of people.
How many
They can
percent?
give direction, but Many
Yeah.
of the people don't even have access to leaders, to be very honest. They just start, because here there was no law of how you start your company. There was only a basic law, and everybody was just doing Wild West. It's because
Yes.
there came problems and people start complaining. They saw, this is getting out of hand. The government start looking for solutions, because if too many people come knocking on your door, you have to do something. But if nobody's doing anything, I mean, everybody's
So
just
Ria,
okay, yeah,
Ria,
then
what
nothing will happen.
percentage do you think is a problem? Like PP said 70-30, and she'd explain. Can you just narrow it for us? Should we hold the
I
leaders
would
how many
say the
percentage?
people too, the people who are, I call it
Okay.
again, people who are in the
Yeah.
diaspora too are very responsible for this, because they
Okay.
see the opportunities. They know what's out there. They know what they can bring back, but they
Okay.
don't want to take the risk. They don't want to bother at all. Wow. And the other thing, what I think is a big problem, is patriotism. One thing
Patriotism.
the
Okay.
locals here
Okay.
have, they love their country. And they have this thing of we are blah blah blah. They even have this thing that everybody, if you are a Han person, wow, you're wonderful. You know? Um, if this can be built, then yes, if people can feel this pride, this is my land. Here at least I can do whatever. Then I think a lot can happen. A lot. Because that's what I've seen here happening. I've seen so much how poor peasant. I'll tell you one. You've been to Beijing. Who's in Beijing? You know there is a shop called Jenny Lu. It's a supermarket for foreigners. If I tell you that how that lady started, and I know her very well, this lady was just on her bicycle delivering vegetables and fruits to foreigners. And with the foreigners, she started the supermarket.
Yes.
Now she has like I don't know how many, and she brought her family in. They're running supermarkets. Back in her day, there was nothing like that. She was just running from her farm, small farm. If she shows you the farm, you will laugh. Where she was growing vegetables and delivering to foreigners, and the foreigners have helped her. Then, if you really are, you know, hardworking, especially if you come in contact with the diaspora. Again, diaspora. The diaspora can give how you call it direction in what can happen, because there is so much opportunity. You diaspora here, you can say, hey, this we don't have it in Nigeria. It's easy to set something like this up. And the diaspora, most of the times they have the money, they have it, but they don't want to bother. Sometimes
Okay.
it hurts me to see
Yeah.
it. I'll go
So
to my
Ria,
own country. You know what
yeah.
I've seen there? People now are running back because they are in Europe now, right? Europe now is Mafan. They now start to see that, oh my God, in my own country, I can have a house with a garden. Here I'm living on top of people. In my country, at least in my garden, I can have some chickens, what. I can take care of myself and I can do a business. People start seeing it now. They now start
Okay.
coming back and starting businesses. So I see it's a small country, so it's quickly to implement these things. But what about Nigeria? The same can happen.
Okay, Ria, I will take your question. I will take your answer you gave, which was the people in diaspora to be held responsible. That's what you said, right?
Yes, because they can
Okay.
do far more, but they are
Okay.
just only blah blah blah. But nobody
Perfect. So,
really wants to
Mr.
put their shoulder.
Okay. Okay, I will take that answer now to maybe I'll hand over that answer to Barrister Olushegu. So, what do you say about that, sir? People abroad, I should be held responsible. Okay, I think it's offline. So, Mrs. PP, what do you say about that, please? Maybe we can have some
Well,
some views on that. Yeah.
yeah, sorry. Actually, just as she said, she just came into the meeting few minutes ago, right? So I guess her contribution was not really based on what we're talking about currently, right? So I also tend to not really understand, because if we are talking about holding accountable the leadership or the people, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
don't really understand her angle, but from just what she said, if she was focusing on general development, she was talking about people in diaspora not doing much back home and all that. Now, the thing is this, If you're talking about people in diaspora not doing much back home, I would say that might be a lie, because no one actually in diaspora here without, you are not even a citizen, right? Yet, this is not home. In fact, from the 2022 data that was dropped, Nigeria remitted 20.9 billion USD back home. Just following Ghana, Kenya, and all the South Africa was like 1 billion USD. Because this is to tell you that people make their money wherever they are and put it back home. Okay, this is also a development to wherever we are coming from. Okay, now if you're talking about moving back entirely to live there, that is where I would say yes, because people in diaspora have a problem with that, right? You don't live in a place where at least you're making the money, you're living some comfortable life, things made a bit easier for you, and now you're thinking about moving back home just like that, where you know that maybe you don't even have plan yet, or you haven't decided to move back home and stay there and be doing your business there. You get, just because of some challenges. Maybe the policy is not even convenient for you, right? And the things around happening is not convenient for you. You can't force people to go and be in the dungeon where you know that you say we have to hold our government accountable. That's what we're telling you, that the African leaders are not accountable. They are just like above the law. We keep trying. If you ever leave Africa and move abroad, you always get pissed at them every 10 minutes. If you look at the news about your country, you get mad. This is because we feel like we feel more pain even while you are abroad, right? You feel more pain because you are enjoying some certain benefit. You know that actually we want more than this. We can even do more than this. But it's not. You get emotionally drained. You get angry every 10 minutes looking at the system, how everything's working back home. So emotionally already we are concerned. We are drained at the same time. You get.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, you want to say something?
Okay, Ms. Ipi, yeah, I want to stop you on one point. Earlier on, you said 70-30, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so who voted those leaders there? It was the 30% who voted them, right?
Yeah, we voted them in. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so why does your scale say 70-30? Because the people who voted them, isn't it the people who has the majority problem rather than the leaders who are just there to?
No, when someone voted you into a position, the person doesn't have a problem. The person that has a problem is the person who took the promise that is going to do better and went there and do the other thing. So you are not the person that actually believed in you, right? With everything that you promised that you're going to do, because you're in the right position to do that. If I vote you into something, I'm expecting you to be held accountable for any action that you take, right? I voted you there for you to do something, but whereby like you're not doing the thing that we voted you in to do, and we are against it. We're asking you to do the right thing, and you are even telling us that if you shut up, there's nothing we can do about it, right? We're trying our best. I know African, apart from Nigeria, a lot of African countries are facing a lot from their leaders. Some have been in let me just, Nigeria is just 4 years leadership, right? 4 years in, but in some African countries, some have been there 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. You know, with the same issue moving on. This issue, see, we voted them in. That is the truth. But we expect them to do better, and they didn't do better. We are not to be held responsible, right? We should hold the leaders responsible for not doing the thing we asked them to do. So they are doing abuse of power, whereby they don't want to be accountable to us. So blaming the person that voted you in, it's actually not the right thing. I think the leaders should be held accountable for not delivering the promise that they promised people. So voting them in is not a problem. It's those people there should do the right thing. It's more like blaming citizens here for voting whoever that is in their. Yeah, no, it's not their fault. They have to exercise their right, which is the right thing. Somebody must be there. Everybody cannot be a leader. One person should be there. So if you promise that you're going to do better, and we have confidence in you, and we voted, you expected you to do the right thing. And now this is where human rights comes in. When you're not doing well, we can ask you to calm down. And that is why in some countries, in developed countries, that's why they are different. Because when you're not doing the right thing, we push you down. They tell you to move down. They try so hard. But in African countries, you don't push even so hard. When you push so hard, even the ones that a lot of African countries have done, the leaders still stepped on them, like, you don't tell us what to do. We voted you there, but you still tell us that we don't know don't tell you what to do. You're abusing the power. So we don't blame the people who voted them.
Okay, PP, what's the way forward? Because now the leaders have refused to do what they're supposed to do. So what's the next step on your view?
Yeah.
Having in mind that the leaders have refused to do the right thing. Yeah. So what's your next step based on what you think?
Yeah, so far what I think, right? I'm just coming from now I'm coming from a point of a sociologist, right? Just talking generally. I think our issue is the reason why they abuse this power, they think that we cannot do anything, is because of constitutions that support the rubbish that they do, right?
Okay.
And so I think for some of these African countries to move forward, we need to start changing some certain things in the constitution. We cannot be using constitution of our old days, you know, and using it till now. And some of these constitutions actually favor things we are evolving, actually favors their rubbish. It protects them, and they keep doing it. So I think we need to start from our constitution, change some certain things, right? We amend some certain things to fit into the new development that we're facing. So I think we need to start from constitution.
Okay, I'll come to that. But let me call on someone just to hear his opinion as well too. Mr. Busayo, please, I don't know what you think about it. The topic for today was the benefits of dual citizenship, the good and bad side of dual citizenship, and somehow it led into bad governance and some stuff. So what do you think about what Ms. Pipi just said in terms of development of one's country?
I think the lady has really spoken well.
Yeah.
She said, you can't blame the people. Of course, democracy is supposed to be government of the people, for the people, by the people. But every one of us, we know the manipulative effort of African leaders. They know what to do. They know they keep people in poverty. Then when the election is coming, they bring certain things, just give it to them, buy their votes. So you can't blame the people. Now, the dual citizenship has really helped. Like the last speaker spoke, the amount of money that the diaspora have remitted back home to Africa is humongous. Nigeria is in billions of dollars. Many school fees were paid by the diaspora fund. Many people who are doing business, the real estate in Nigeria is mostly those who are handling the hard currencies that can remit enough to build structures. Of course, those at-home politicians, those who are fortunate, but not the middle class. So I believe that the relocation abroad by many people in Africa has helped a lot. My own solution is this: we need to wait for some time for things to get better. I live in Italy. Italy has been practicing democracy for almost 1,000 years, and they are still having problems. In fact, most of their people don't believe that their leaders are even honest. So what I'm just saying is this: we continue to move on, put pressure on the government, put pressure on our leaders, let them do the right thing. But I believe that if we continue that way, one day things will get better.
Mr. Busayo, a lady called Rhea, I was able to grab a keyword she used. She used patriotism. Don't you think patriotism is one of the problems that we are having back in Africa? That is, the people are not patriotic enough.
Well, you get the leadership that the people get the leadership that they have. The government is a microcosm of microcosm. So government is the miniature representation of the people. So you cannot, those who are there, the parliament members, they are the people. Some were complaining yesterday against the government. Now they are there today, they are doing the same thing. So we can't detach entirely the government from the people. I know that the people are culpable. Having said that, we still have to remember the fact that the leaders in Africa have this tendency to manipulate the people. So they keep the people in perpetual poverty, so that when they come to their neighborhood during the election time, they give them some money, they will naturally vote for them. If you just suppose that with developed world like America, Canada, Britain, Italy, even China, people can talk, they can vote their conscience, because their earnings may not necessarily depend on who is in power. So they are ready to put you out, kick you out, or make you to remain. So that's the difference. So we can't really blame the people, even though we know that people have some measure of blame. But I believe that if people get more empowered, they have jobs in Africa, they can sustain themselves, less corruption will be witnessed in electioneering, and eventually one day we can have a thriving democracy. I look at Rwanda as the future of Africa. We have seen what Kagame has done. Of course, he's not totally, free of any blame of maybe autocratic rule or whatever. But the example is that Rwanda, and has shown even Nigeria, where I come from, a good leadership example that if you can get the right leader to lead a nation or any organization, that organization or nation can move forward. Rwanda fought civil war, and there was a genocide that was reported to be one of the biggest in the contemporary time. But can you know that a few years after this civil war, where they killed almost nearly, I think, about close to about 900,000 or 800,000, people. But can you imagine what Kagame is now bringing back in Rwanda? So I believe that if Rwanda can lead that turn around and tell us that we can get things right, one day Nigeria, my country, will follow in the footsteps. Thank you very much.
Okay. I want to cite what Mrs. Pepe just said. I think she used a statement called if the people, right, or wherever can adjust the constitution. Then also you mentioned something again, which I'm trying to link up. You just mentioned Rwanda as a model. Now, when we look into the model of Rwanda, what they use, one would say it's more like a military regime that Kagame is using, which means that if you're corrupt, you go to jail. If you're corrupt, you don't go through the process, through the legal process. You go directly to jail. So do you think that the best way of this is by Kagamation?
I think you live in Beijing, in China.
Sorry?
Do you live in China?
Yes, I'm in China right now, yeah.
What is the punishment in China for stealing government money?
Well, to answer that question, when I came here, there were 4 governors that stole. They didn't actually steal. There were 4 ex-governors when I came here that we heard that some account was not balanced, less than $1 million, and they are in jail right now.
Thank you very much. But I have read so many reports of even going to the level of execution for the government official.
Very tiny amount.